Yeah, welcome back to the show. We just went over to Google and looked up all the methods that are available in the Java API for strings. Just Google Java API, and then you can find that here. But now we're back here. Sorry you missed that, folks watching from home. Rate and review on whatever. I don't know how to do that. All right, so last time we talked about three methods we used last time, just to reinforce them: length, and two uppercase, and two lowercase. I'm not going to give examples of them again right now because we used them already, they're also obvious. You'll see in a minute why I saved these new ones for today to get a little more complicated. So as a lead into this, though, I want to show you how strings work. Strings, every character in a string has an index value. So let's assume I made a string good morning with this call. str is the string. Every character in the string has an index. So the capital G is index 0. They always start at 0. You'll get used to that in computers. And it goes up to one less than the length. Good morning is actually 12 characters long. So the first character is 0, and the last character is the length minus 1. Yeah?
So does that mean it's 12 bytes then?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Each letter is like...
Probably, but I don't know. It's a good question. So you don't have to copy this whole table down, but you have to understand how strings work. So they all have each character has an index number. So this brings us to our first method, index of, and then you put a string in there. What this does is it returns the location of whatever string you're asking inside of another string. So let's say that returns the location of the start of string t in the string you're searching, or -1 if the string is not found. So I got an example right here. So using this good morning string, if I do this call system.out.println, so notice the way we use the method, we're saying str.index of, and then in quotes, or you could use a variable here if it was a string variable. I'm saying, hey, look for the characters or in the string str, and you see or are right here in the middle of the word. It starts at 6, so it always just gives the first index. You could find a long thing inside of something, and it still just gives you the first character. So index of is used to find something inside of another thing. And then I got an example of a -1. Notice the word tiger is not inside of the words good morning. So when I do an index of searching for tiger, you get a -1 back because it's not in there. That's something else you'll get used to. -1 is often used to indicate not found. Because if you know the index values of things go from 0 to some positive number, then they've just chosen -1 as something that means it's not really there. And I have one more example. I just searched for a bigger word, and if you search for the word morning, right, you get a 5. So I'm trying to make it consistent there. All right, so that's index of. Not too hard. You get a -1 if the thing you're looking for isn't found, and you get a number if it is found. All right. Next up. So it's called substring, the next one that we're doing. SUB and then string, all lowercase, substring. And that may intuitively sound to you like we're trying to get a piece of the string out of the bigger string. And that is exactly what we're trying to do. So this returns part of a string, starting at the given index value. Oh, hey, sure. Up through the end. So there's two versions of substring we're going to use. This one just takes one number, we're just calling it from, and it goes to that spot, and it goes from there to the end. So I got a couple examples here. I think. Yeah, here we go. So if I have a string called bowl, or not called bowl, if I just change str to be bowl, just wanted to use a shorter thing, and you can see the index values. If I, I want this one first. Don't write this one down. So if I say str.substring1, it goes to character 1 and prints from there to the end of the word. And yeah.
If you didn't have any parentheses or no numbers inside, would it print the whole thing?
No, it wouldn't compile. Yeah, so if you didn't put a number in there, it wouldn't compile.
But if you put 0, it would.
If you put 0, it would do the whole word.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
You always need a number.
You need a number. There's got to be a number. Like if you don't really want a substring, then don't do a substring. just say this equals that. Boom. Yeah, good question though. Let's. I think my next one. Yeah, this is a good one. This may look really complicated, but you're going to have to be able to do this. This prints the last character of a string. So let's walk through it. str.substring, and then for the number, it says str.length -1. So bowl is 4 characters long, so the length is 4. You subtract 1, and you get 3. So this is really calling substring with the number 3. So you just get the letter L. You get the last letter of whatever this string was. So what's nifty about this is it'll give you the last letter whether the thing's 4 characters long or 400 characters long. You're always going to get the last letter because it goes to length -1. And there's times when you need the last character of something. But anyway, this version of substring starts at a specific spot. We're calling it the from number, and then just goes to the end. I will say, anyone know what happens if you put a number bigger than 3 in, if this was our example? I'm going to show you. It crashes. But we'll, it'll be a forgiving crash. So I'm going to declare this string, and then I'm going to try to get character 10. All right, there's no character 10 in here. Can't go to index 10. And now the compiler lets it compile, but then when it runs, let's see. We got another problem. It had a curly quote in there because I typed that in Microsoft Word. Here we go. Boom. So you can see the message. It says exception in thread main java.lang.string string index out of bounds exception. String index out of bounds. So if you ever try to access beyond what is you should in a particular variable, Java will crash and it'll give you this error. In this case, this -6 actually indicates to us that it's 6 out of range. It's 6 farther than it should have been. Or more, I guess, because you can't call with a 4. But anyway, sometimes this number is a clue. So back to here. Let's do our next method. I did have another one here to show you. You don't have to write down if you already get it, but if you just want the character, if you want the first character, you say 0, 1. So it always does, sorry, that's the next thing. Gone. All right, next up, substring. And we have int from and int to. So this is what I was just showing you by accident. This returns a string starting at the from index and going to 1 less than the to index, or integer. So there's a lot to remember today. This is why I didn't want to throw it all at you last time. But it starts at the character, the first number you give, and then it ends 1 less than the second number. And you'll get used to it just by using it over time. But and then here's where I had an example just in the wings. Let's call it up. If we're still back at that bowl string, BOWL, if we say substring 0, 1, it's just going to print the B. I'll go get this little table just so we have it all together. So you don't have to be trying to remember. I mean, you don't have to rewrite it in your notes. So if I want the letter O, I would say substring 1, 2. So this is saying, hey, start at character 1 and do 1 less than the number 2. All right, well, I guess I'll just do number 1. You can do more than 1. I think I did more than 1. Nope, I deleted it. We'll see if I have another one here. Nope. So I'll do 1.
You had 1 to 3.
I know, yeah, but I deleted it when I copied something else. So 1, 3 gives us ow, because it starts at 1 and goes 1 less than the number 3.
So it always goes 1 less.
It always goes 1 less than the second number, but it always starts at exactly the first number.
How come, do you know why it does that?
I can't say. I think it has something to do with the fact that you can call this thing, with this number right here. So check this out. If we do 1, str.length, that's really like saying 1, 4, right?
Yeah, it's the whole length.
Yeah, it's the whole length. And if you say 1, 4, it does 1 less than the length, so it doesn't crash. 1, 4 doesn't crash.
Yeah.
Like you might think, oh, that's going to crash because we're going out of bounds. But you're allowed to use the number 4 for the second number because it's going to do 1 less than. And so maybe, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know why they did that, but yeah, it's an interesting question. Yeah, why did they start at 0 instead of 1, you know? Somebody was having a bad day and then they did that. No. Or they were having a good day and they did that. Yeah. All right, I think we're done with that document. I'm going to go back to my other document. We have a couple more. In fact, I want to go back. So, and this is important, to get a single character. This is just worth noting. So if you wanted to get character n out of a string, then you just say substring n, comma, n plus 1. I mean, it's just like I did right here for the first two, where we got the B and we got the O. There's other ways to get a single character out, but this is the way I'm going to have you do it this year for various reasons that aren't important right now. But you'll get used to it. It's not a problem. All right, so then back to here. We have two more methods. One called equals. Strings are reference variables. This means you cannot use two equal signs to see if two strings are the same. You just have to trust me on this. Down the line, we'll create all sorts of objects and other reference variables. Like you remember, we've already created like frogs and books and students. So if you have one frog named Frank and another one called Frankie, and you want to check if they're the same, you can't say if Frank equal Frankie. You can't do that with objects, with reference variables. You can use the double equal sign with primitives. Thank you, Nick. With strings and other reference variables, you have to use dot equals. So I'm going to show you. I'll show you some code. We'll do system. Let's see. I think I have it. Yeah. No. I'll type it in, and we'll be fine. So popping over here. We got a string. I'm going to say dog, and I'm going to do another string. Cat. All right, and then we're going to print out str dot equals str2. This is testing whether str is the same as str2, and hopefully we'll get a false. Yeah, we got false because dogs and cats are not the same. I could put a dog in here in text form, like without creating another variable. We're just comparing this variable called str with this piece of text, this other literal string that is the word dog. You got to go. Yeah. All right. No worries. And it says they are the same. So sometimes you'll get some unpredictable behavior when you're doing equals with strings, and don't worry, we'll reinforce this later, but that's what dot equals is for. It's for comparing two strings. You get true or false back from that. All right, and then we're going back here. Sorry. Oh, you can do str2. I mean, just didn't have another string. You can do dog as in another string, and then I was just showing you one that worked and one that didn't work. So yeah, this variable is the same as that variable. They both are the word dog. Cool. But they're not the same as the cat. All right. So the last one is compare to. And this compares two strings. And returns a negative number if the first string comes before the second one, returns 0 if they are the same, and returns a positive number if the first comes after the second. And I'll give you examples before and after, that kind of thing. We're talking like alphabetically. So like the letter A comes before the letter B. So if I do not going to do it right here. It's going to not work. So in just a sec, we'll go to the other window and do a couple. This is the last part of our notes. I know it's been a lot today. All right, I'm going to switch it. So, let's do str1 is apple now, and str2 is banana, and so what we're saying, we're going to compare string 1 to string 2, and then we're going to get a number back. In this case, apple, A, the letter A, comes before B, banana. So we should get a -1 back. I hope. Yeah. And if that's not clear, I'll do zebra and run it, and we should get like 25, -25. A is 25 letters before Z. It just tells you, it doesn't work on the whole word. It just goes until there's a difference and then talks about that difference. So for example, if I said A, Z right here, we wouldn't get 25 because it would be telling us the distance between P and Z. I'm pretty sure, not A and Z. Yeah, that's 10 letters, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. But if I made this one cat and this one hedgehog, so D, E, F, G, H, I would estimate we'll get a -5 because C is 5 letters before H. You get the idea? And if I made them the same, if it was cat and cat, we'll get a 0 because they're the same. So in a way, that's like doing a dot equals and getting a true. And then just to show you, if you do, the other way, if str1 comes later in the alphabet, then you get a number. It's 5 letters later than the letter C. All right, so that's compared to, which is tricky, and I'm not going to make you do a lot with that today, but over time we'll learn how to use that better. And that's it for our notes today.